The day Deathworlders had enough and stopped being nice. HFY Story. Prologue. Deathworlders among the stars. The galaxy was a patchwork of civilizations, some thriving, others merely surviving. Among them was the Galactic Federation, a governing body of thousands of species united in a fragile alliance. Its core belief was simple: peace could be maintained through diplomacy and mutual cooperation. For centuries, this had held true, until humanity entered the fold. Humans, labeled as Deathworlders, were an anomaly. They hailed from a Class 12 death world, a designation reserved for planets deemed too hostile for life. Earth was a crucible of evolution, where natural disasters, predatory ecosystems, and unpredictable climates shaped its inhabitants into something unique. The Galactic Federation's ruling species had long considered humans as primitive, dangerous, and emotionally volatile. But humanity's arrival wasn't the declaration of conquest they feared. It was a gesture of diplomacy. Humans extended their hand in friendship, eager to prove their worth as allies. For years, humanity played by the Federation's rules, enduring condescension and backhanded compliments. They offered their technology, their knowledge, and their unwavering resilience. Yet, despite their contributions, humanity was always seen as the outsider, the unpredictable element in a galaxy that prized stability. It wasn't until the Therak Coalition, an opportunistic Federation member species, began exploiting human colonies that things began to shift. At first, humanity protested diplomatically. When the Federation ignored their grievances, they continued to endure, unwilling to risk their newfound place in the galactic community. But there was only so much abuse a Deathworlder species could take. Chapter 1. The Breaking Point. The human colony on Hadrian Prime was a testament to resilience. Located on the edge of Federation space, it was a lush but treacherous world, its jungles teeming with wildlife that could kill in an instant. Humans thrived there, cultivating the land and turning it into a beacon of innovation. That beacon was snuffed out when the Therak Coalition arrived. The Therak were a spider-like species known for their cruelty and opportunism. They descended upon Hadrian Prime under the pretense of Federation-sanctioned oversight, claiming the colony's resources as compensation for alleged human violations of trade agreements. Their warships blockaded the planet, cutting off supplies and communication. Inside the colony's command center, Governor Elise Marlow paced, her fists clenched at her sides. She had sent dozens of pleas to the Federation for intervention, each more desperate than the last. All were met with silence. "They won't help us," said Captain Jonas Hale, leader of the colony's militia. His voice was grim. "The Federation never wanted us here. They'll let the Therak bleed us dry." Elise slammed her hand on the console. "And what are we supposed to do? Fight? We're outnumbered and outgunned." Jonas's eyes burned with determination. "We're Deathworlders. Fighting is what we do best." Chapter 2. A Call to Arms. The Therak occupation of Hadrian Prime was brutal. Civilians were rounded up and forced into labor camps, harvesting rare minerals for Therak profit. Families were torn apart, and resistance was met with lethal force. In one such camp, 14-year-old Samara watched as her father was struck down by a Therak overseer. The alien's mandibles clicked in cruel amusement as her father crumpled to the ground. Tears streaming down her face, Samara clenched her fists. She remembered her father's words, "Never let them break you." Meanwhile, Elise and Jonas prepared for a rebellion. In the depths of Hadrian's jungles, hidden from Therak patrols, they rallied the colonists. Engineers repurposed farming equipment into weapons. Scientists developed chemical repellents from the planet's toxic flora. Hunters, familiar with the terrain, taught guerrilla tactics. The turning point came when the Therak flagship, the Venomous Tide, received a transmission. It wasn't a plea for help or an attempt at negotiation. It was a warning. "This is Governor Elise Marlow of Hadrian Prime," the message began. Her voice was cold, stripped of the desperation it once carried. "You've taken everything from us. You've underestimated us. Now you'll pay the price." Chapter 3: The Rebellion Ignites. The first strike came at night. Therak guards patrolling the perimeter of a labor camp were ambushed by militia fighters using modified drones that sprayed acidic compounds into their ranks. Chaos erupted as the colonists launched simultaneous attacks on Therak installations, striking with precision and fury. Samara, armed with a makeshift crossbow, joined the militia in freeing her camp. Despite her age, her aim was steady, her resolve unshakable. She became a symbol of the colony's indomitable spirit. Therak reinforcements arrived, deploying advanced combat walkers to crush the rebellion, but the humans adapted. Using the jungle to their advantage, they lured the walkers into narrow ravines and unleashed traps made of spiked vines and explosive sap. The walkers fell, one by one. In the colony's underground network, Elise coordinated the attacks, her mind racing with strategies. "We're Deathworlders," she told her people. "We're not just surviving, we're winning." Chapter 4: Humanity Rises. News of the rebellion spread across Federation space. Human colonies, long oppressed or overlooked, began to rise up. On Kalis 7, miners armed themselves with laser drills, driving out corporate enforcers. On Oberon Station, dock workers sabotaged trade routes controlled by predatory species. In response, the Federation convened an emergency session. The Therak delegation, their pride wounded, demanded immediate military intervention to crush the humans. Liana Vin, a Zerathian diplomat sympathetic to humanity, spoke against them. The Therak violated every principle of the Federation Charter. Humanity's response is justified. The room erupted into arguments. Some saw humanity's defiance as a threat to the galactic order. Others admired their resolve. But no one could deny the truth. Humanity had stopped being nice. Chapter 5: The First Galactic War. The Therak Coalition, humiliated and desperate, escalated the conflict. They deployed their full fleet, launching coordinated strikes on human colonies. They sought to make an example of Hadrian Prime, dispatching an armada to raise the planet. The alliance of human colonies, hastily formed from the rebellion's momentum, prepared for war. Fleet Commander Marcus Holt took command of the Iron Resolve, humanity's first dreadnought-class warship, a behemoth bristling with experimental weapons. The Battle of Hadrian Prime was humanity's first stand against the Federation. The Iron Resolve led a ragtag fleet of retrofitted cargo ships, planetary defense craft, and stolen Therak vessels. Outnumbered, but not outmatched, they fought with the ferocity of a cornered predator. Therak ships fell to human ingenuity. Fighter squadrons deployed cloaked drones that disabled enemy systems. Plasma railguns, powered by Hadrian's rare minerals, fired slugs that tore through shields. On the ground, Jonas and Samara led the resistance, turning the Therak's own weapons against them. When the Venomous Tide was destroyed by a precisely timed barrage, the Therak armada retreated. The rebellion had become a full-scale war. Chapter 6: Humanity Ascendant. The war spread across the galaxy. Humanity, once fragmented, now stood united under the Alliance. They forged alliances with other oppressed species, sharing their technology and tactics. The Korthi, a race of telepaths enslaved by the Federation, joined the fight, their abilities turning the tide in ground battles. Fleet Commander Holt launched a counter-offensive, targeting Federation shipyards and supply lines. The Iron Resolve became a symbol of defiance, its battles recorded and broadcast across the galaxy. Every victory inspired more species to join humanity's cause. The Galactic Federation, fractured by internal dissent, struggled to respond. Diplomats called for peace talks, but humanity demanded justice. "We gave them a chance," Elise said in a broadcast. "They ignored us. Now they'll face the consequences." Epilogue: A New Galactic Order. The war ended with the fall of the Therak homeworld. Humanity's fleet, bolstered by their allies, overwhelmed the last remnants of resistance. The Galactic Federation, unable to contain the uprising, dissolved. In its place, the Galactic Concord was born, a coalition led by humanity and its allies. The Concord's charter enshrined the principles of equality and mutual defense, ensuring that no species would suffer as humanity had. On Hadrian Prime, a monument was erected in the jungle where the rebellion began. It bore a simple inscription: "Deathworlders endure, Deathworlders rise.